One of the most iconic aspects of The Legend of Zelda is the multitude of lively characters that the series has to offer. Every game brings with it a host of interesting characters to enrich the experience, but for whatever reason, it seems like there are an unusually large amount of ugly characters in these games. In fact, there's so many ugly characters, it was really difficult to trim the list down to only 10. There are some legitimately ugly characters who I had to cut, just because there's so many to choose from. Nevertheless, this is my best attempt to identify those who display exceptional ugliness. I'm the Red Subrosian, and this is my top 10 ugliest Zelda characters. Dumpe might be the most obvious choice for this list. He was probably the first to come to my mind when I started thinking of who the ugliest characters were, but when all was said and done, he ended up here, at the bottom of the list. Despite his placement, Dumpe is one ugly guy. Poor Dumpe, he seems nice enough, and he's definitely helpful in both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, but goodness, he sure is ugly. One of the things that kind of bums me out about this list is the lack of representation from the top-down Zelda games. The handheld games are some of my favorite in the series. However, since the character sprites used in these games don't provide as much detail as the 3D character models, you just can't tell how ugly the characters really are. That being said, number 9 comes from a handheld title and he definitely earns his place. It's the Bridge Builder from Spirit Tracks. Okay, this guy is so ugly. Is he even supposed to be a human? Or is he some kind of mole man creature? I honestly can't tell. I don't think he has pupils, so that's kinda off-putting to start with. Plus, there's his overall shape. I don't even think he has a neck at all. Well, whatever's going on with this guy, it's ugly. There's one sound that sends chills down the spines of Zelda players everywhere. Ooh. Maybe disturbing would be a more fitting word than ugly to describe the great fairies from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, but ugly works for sure. Look at her! And although she may not be strictly uglier than some of the characters that got cut, the fact that she's supposed to be like sensual or alluring just makes her seem way uglier. Look at those lips and her hair and eyes, and I'm not even going to talk about her anatomy, which, might I add, the camera pans down to highlight for you. Ooh. Aside from maybe Dumpe, I'd say that Batreaux is the most obvious choice for this list. If you haven't played Skyward Sword, this entry will contain a very minor spoiler. Batreaux is a comical character, and the whole joke is that he's been transformed into a hideous demon, and needs you to help change him back to a human. So you work throughout the game to do so, and when you succeed, he looks maybe even uglier than he did before. The reason he's number 7 on my list is because his ugliness is so intentional and highlighted, which kinda lessens the effect for me. But still, I had to include him. Look at those teeth and the skull nose and the pointed ears and hair, and I don't even know what's going on with his eyes. Are those his pupils or his whole eyes? And what's with these black lines over here? Oh well, at least he's happy now. Majora's Mask is one of the most unusual games in the Zelda series, and it has some of the weirdest and ugliest characters for sure. This guy counts for both. The whole side quest with Kamaro is weird. He's this almost naked dude who dances alone on a rock at night. Yeah, but not only is he weird, he's way ugly. He's got this long face with no nose and squinty little eyes. No offense if you've got squinty eyes, it's just not working for this guy. There's this huge gap between his non-existent nose and his mouth, and the pointed ears too. And as a final note, his skin is a deathly pale. But hey, he does teach you that dance. Number 5 is one of my favorite entries on this list. He's one of those characters that's just there, and the developers had no reason to make him so ugly. It's the shooting gallery owner from Ocarina of Time. The giants from Majora's Mask are kind of minor characters. However, if you take time to look at these guys, they're hideous. They don't have bodies at all, just super lanky arms and legs that go straight into their heads. The green beard thing is kinda cool, and the fact that they're mythical giants who push the moon away from destroying Termina, but it doesn't redeem how ugly they are. Okay, so I've played Zelda for a long time, but it was really only when I started making this list that I realized how ugly this guy is. Number 3 is the Bean Seller from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. He looks like he'd probably fit better as a Pokemon than as a character in Zelda. Plus he's just sitting here eternally munching on his magic beans. I don't think I really need to mention anything specific about his appearance. Ugh! In the name of all that is good in this world, what is that? The Elder Goron from Majora's Mask is perhaps the most straight-up ugly character in the series. Look at that thing! The ribs and tattoos, with the hair and bottom lip and all, he's just so gross looking. Also, I kinda mentally lumped the Elder Goron from Twilight Princess, since they look so similar. Gorons just don't age well, I guess, because these guys are hideous. And now, the number 1 ugliest character in The Legend of Zelda goes to the Lakeside Scientist from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I honestly don't know where to start with this guy. He takes ugliness to a whole new level. He looks like a skeletal goat man of some sort. And not only is this guy preposterously ugly, he's weird. In Ocarina of Time, you have to bring him an eye frog, and he gets way excited about it because he wants to eat it. And just look at this guy. When it comes to Zelda characters, the Lakeside Scientist is as ugly as they come. Well, that wraps things up. If there are any characters that you think should have been included, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.